You're mistaken if you think your powers are a match for MechaGodzilla.
Most super important reviews. My name's Steve.
My name's Arnaz.
And today we'll be going over the SH MonsterArts MechaGodzilla 1974. If you guys don't know who this is, go watch the film Godzilla vs. MechaGodzilla, the Showa series version, not the Heisei, which is kind of some people consider MechaGodzilla too, but they pretty much have the same name. But yeah, it's also called Godzilla vs. the Cosmic Monster is another title for it, where you have MechaGodzilla fighting both Godzilla, and he also fights Anguirus and King Caesar in that movie, who was a new kaiju for that one. Also, mostly the same version that you see in 75. I think there's some slight differences in the suit, but for the most part, same look. So if getting this figure kind of kills two movies, one stone for the most part. And the main reason I picked this up is just because I really love this version of MechaGodzilla. Pretty much any MechaGodzilla I'm pretty much down to be picking up. He's one of my favorite kaijus in the series. Just super cool. They need to make for this, like, the imposter Godzilla.
Imposter Godzilla.
Yeah, you know when he's like at the beginning of the film where he's wearing the Godzilla suit.
When he gets damaged and like pieces start falling off of him.
Yeah, where Anguirus like exposes like part of his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need that figure. Stat.
Oh, that would be awesome if they would make one and then like you can take some of the pieces off where it shows the MechaGodzilla part.
All they really need to do is make a 74 Godzilla to go along with this. Or even 75, I guess. It's like it's a little different. But make that one, and then the reissue could just come with extra parts.
Yeah, like accessories where you can just put it on.
Yeah, and just like change the color a little bit or something. Make it a little more diversified. That'd be awesome. There you go. Got some ideas there, Tamashii. But anyways, without further ado, for the package, just get a nice image on MechaGodzilla on the front with some slashes going on in the more light baby blue packaging. Top of the package, just more slashes. MechaGodzilla 74. This side, more of the same, but in a nice red coloring. Opposite side, get a nice front shot of MechaGodzilla. Back just shows you all the stuff he comes with, him in some dynamic poses, and some Lego mumbo jumbo on the bottom.
Wait, this guy can fly?
Well, you can set him up to fly, but he doesn't actually come with like a stand to fly.
Oh, what? That's false advertisement.
That's like all the flying ones. Only the special edition of King Ghidorah came with a flying stand. Ugh. Which is kind of sad. But let's get him opened up out of his cardboard prison. Alright, so now that we got him opened up out of his cardboard prison, first we're going to go over his accessories. Starting with his tummy laser.
God, what does that look like from a sign from a flash from that old TV show?
Could be. It could be like Harry Potter's like little lightning scar thing on top of his... I don't know. I don't barely watch Harry Potter. But, or Flash for that matter, too. But yeah, could be like a little logo. But overall, detail-wise, get you out of the way, so stop focusing. Yeah, we'll just move the camera up. But for the laser, it's just on a translucent yellow plastic with a little bit of green effect over top of it. You got a little bloom at the beginning of the laser, because technically it's supposed to shoot out like that. So the tip is aiming towards your kaiju that you want to be damaged, while this section is going to be what's going to be sitting on his stomach. Because technically for his mouth, it's not correct to use this guy. But how you attach this, well, get this to sit on your MechaGodzilla anyways, is way the instruction shows it. It wants you to kind of flick at it with your nail right there is where it points the arrow. But I found out that if you push in on it, it'll pop out. There we go. Because when I started trying to get at it, I may have started taking off some silver soap. It's like something's going awry. That is just like, it's a really tight fit for something that's kind of like cockeyed angle.
I got some good details in there though.
Yeah, the top plate is not very symmetrical, but oh poopy, I put it back in. There we go. Yeah. But on the inside, you get the little red laser nub with some added stuff going on in there. And then this will sit like so. And how you get it to sit like so is it actually comes with
a crappy stand.
A crappy stand. Because what it is just a little plastic oval. Stick the stand there. And then it comes with a top section that gives you a ball joint. Now, when getting this on, you want to make sure to hold it right here by the ball joint. Because if you hold it down here, this is going to flex, and it's a pretty tight fit up here. So you're going to want to hold it as close to the top as possible. So now you got this little articulated joint here. And then how you set this up is you kind of just adjust your MechaGodzilla, you line it up, and then grabbing at the top section here again to articulate it. Now we have our tummy lasers. And all of its weird little 70s glory. Now the only thing that kind of is a bummer, which is the reason why I'm not a big fan of the stand, I wish we would have got a Tamashii Act with that little attachment on it, is just in case, like maybe if I wanted to use it for its mouth laser, you don't get that option anymore.
It's not big enough?
No, because it only sits this high, so you only really get to have it sticking out of his stomach, and then you can kind of articulate it, I guess. But it just, to me, at this point, it kind of defeats the purpose because it's only going to be going in at this angle. You kind of have to have it at one specific spot because, like, I guess you can rotate a little bit, but what's really the point there? Like, this could have almost just been, like, a fixed thing, and it would have been fine. Like, I don't really see why this is necessary, because I can't even, like, angle it upright because it's just a single straight stand. So, again, kind of wish I would have came with the Tamashii Axe stand, but this is kind of what we get for now. And then he comes with a pair of missile fingers, which what these are is for when you see in the film him shooting his missiles out of his fingertips. So, those are supposed to be them, like, already ejected, which is pretty cool. Again, maybe we'd like to see like an explosion piece come with this guy so you can have it kind of replicating that it's like literally firing would have been pretty cool. Or maybe something to overlay on top of the fingertips to make it look more like they're actually shooting.
Does he shoot missiles out of those fingertips?
Yeah, he does in the movie.
No, I'm talking about here. Why?
No, they're just, this is it.
That's it?
That's it.
That's disappointing.
Now how you get it onto MechaGodzilla is you just pull straight from the forearm. Pretty easy to do. The socket is a little bit inserted into there. So I noticed that getting it on is a little bit more of a pain. Because you kind of have to have it lined up exactly. While some like SH Figuarts figures and stuff like that, the joint will stick out a little bit farther. While these are more inlaid. That in this hand, a little bit more stiff than the other. But getting it in there, you just want to make sure to go straight into the forearm to not apply pressure onto the joint sideways. But now we have MechaGodzilla shooting his missiles, which is cool, I guess. I don't think I'm actually going to be posing him with those. I'll probably just stick with the actual normal hands.
Just cut his fingertips off.
That's kind of it. Well, they had to add the detail to like indent it. But for the most part, yeah, it's just the hand snipped. They drilled a little bit on the inside and then mass-produced it. And then moving in for a closer look at MechaGodzilla's details, head sculpt looks pretty good. I like all the rivets on the side of the head. You got some translucent plastic there for the eyes, which looks really nice. You have his little nozzle nose on the front section, his ruby red little ears on the side here, and that little trademark horn on the front section here. And then when you open up his mouth, he has his two missiles on the inside, which is very correct for the Kaiju. And then some metallic silver here for the teeth. One thing I noticed though when articulating this, and I'll bring this up now, is you kind of want to make sure to take your time and get the teeth to line up when you want to close it. Because you just try to just instantly shut it, you're going to get the teeth kind of rubbing. And I'm kind of afraid that over time that's going to weather the paint around his teeth. So just make sure to take your time with this guy when articulating his mouth.
Or just don't articulate at all.
Well, that defeats the point of having an articulated figure if you're not going to articulate
What,
it.
articulated figure with no fingertips and has crappy movements in his arms and his leg?
We haven't gotten there yet. You're spoiling it for everyone. But moving down the rest of his body, the neck looks pretty good. The only thing that kind of throws me off is like the top of the neck is a little bit wider than the head. Because this all should be the same size. But for the articulation, it's a little bit wider at the base. Which I don't mind, because to help with the articulation, it's a little exaggerated. I get it. Again, we'll move into a part of this kaiju where that's not really fixed. But yeah, so you get a decent range of motion with the head, but again, we'll get back to that. But detailing for the neck, very nice. Got some more rivets on the side. And I like to, like at the shoulder, like the plastic here looks very weathered and banged up. kind of like what you'd see on the suit, which is really cool to see. You see it on both sides. It's not a very clean cut, which I actually really like there. And same with the paint, is not the cleanest silver like you'd see on, say, the MechaGodzilla from the Heisei series or Kiryu, because for the most part with the original suit, it was just like spray painted silver. So it doesn't have like the cleanest little finish, which I really like to see on this guy too.
You know, when you just moved him up, I noticed he has a belt with a yellow thing down there.
Yeah, you never noticed that on that?
No.
Reviewing the X pluses and such. And there's a little nub there. There's a little yellow nub on the top section of his chest as well.
About, look, it looks just like a belt that goes all the way around.
Yeah, you got like the cuff link or
never noticed that
whatever on the front. Yeah, it's got a little belt. And then some more rivets going around the Kaiju's body. Going on the side, you got his tiny little dorsal spines, 3 plated sections, which is really cool. This giant one at the end of the tail, which is actually articulated too, to help with the tail articulation. So you don't have to worry about snapping that bad boy off. And that's one of the nice things too, is like the paint doesn't have to really be perfect on this guy, because even if it's like a little bit screwed up here and there, you're not going to really notice. Because for instance, like on the tail here, there's a little bit of like excess paint. Not a big deal, because that's kind of the way the suit looked. This side looks pretty clean though. Looking at, and then the tail you have here with its segmenting sections and only having what appears to be 4 actual joints. Oh, I guess 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 joints. Looks nice though. Moving down to his legs, where you got those super deadly little knee pads there, which also shot missiles, if I do remember correctly. It's been a few since I watched the movie.
Shot missiles.
Yeah, it's just guy. Well, yeah, he's just a walking gun, pretty much. Then his 3-toed feet on the bottom section, and overall, oh yeah, I forgot. He also has that little MG on his arm there as well. And then moving on to his articulation, because you'll see a few more little minute details there. But for his head, can look straight up if you want it to. And then you can articulate it to look about there. The neck can move. The only thing that seems weird when I was doing photos with this guy is that when moving his neck, it seems to kind of come into contact with his shoulder pads. As you can see there, like me moving the neck, it's starting to shift that guy a little bit. So be a little wary there. But the neck can go forward and back, a little bit side to side.
That's for the flying mode, right?
Well, this is just so you can look around, because you just want it straight up. That's how you fly. Like, bam, fly mode.
That is weird.
But you get some articulation here at the neck. Now, controversial part, for his shoulders. This is just a piece of plastic. There's a joint in on the inside. Now, he also has 4 little plastic sheets that are right here, which kind of replicate that little vacuum hose appearance that you've seen on MechaGodzilla. Which, actually, you want to grab me that Bandai vinyl behind me? Look at this guy. This is kind of the effect that they're going with. Now, it's actually bigger than his arm. Well, the Bandai vinyl, it's smaller, which I kind of wish they would have went that route. And to be honest, I kind of wish that was just one solid plastic piece right here. Because when you articulate them, if I were to keep going upwards, that's going to come into contact with this piece of plastic, and I could possibly snap these things. Now, you can kind of take your time with it, and you can move his arm, but trying to be fast about it, I get really nervous with those little plates there. And the other issue is you can also get these things stuck behind his shoulder, which is a strange thing too. I guess there's a way of getting this thing off, and then you can fix it that way if you do get plates to actually hide behind there. Because as you can see right there, I only have 3 showing. The other one is right there. And how I fix that problem, bringing my hand up, I just noticed I got a little dirt on my finger, but whatever. You can kind of get the joint to pop back in on the arm, because all it is here is like a little nub that kind of keeps them in, but they can pop off of it real easy. And you just kind of articulate it around. You kind of just start fudging around until you can get it back on that joint. And now it's not wanting to cooperate with me. So when that happens, you can try to work it back onto the joint and pop it back out. But for the most part, you're probably going to have to pop the shoulder joint off if you want to fix it. But if I was going to pop it off, I would probably just remove these things in general. Because all they're really doing is just hindering the movement here. Because now I'm afraid to work that more and possibly break these things. And it has the same thing for the knees, but the knees aren't as big a concern because there's just nowhere for them to go. While here, they have places they can shift into. And what I would have liked to have seen is like what they did here at the elbow. Same effect, but it's a part of the joints. They should have done that with the shoulder here. So now, I got a articulated figure that I'm afraid to move its shoulders around in order to pose it. And even like the elbow joints here aren't even that. Like this is as far as it moves. That's all the range of motion you got. You got NECA Kaiju articulation there. So fancy. And it could also rotate here at the elbow, so you can get a decent bend once you get it in there. But it's just moving it around is a bit frustrating, and then you got to worry about the silver rubbing. So that's a thing. But for the shoulders, technically, this one is probably the best one for me to show you. But he can move backwards about that far. Forward. About there. That's what I'm feeling. Up about that far. Downwards about that far. And again, I'm just taking my time. You can also rotate it at the top of the shoulder. Hands can rotate all the way around. You can pivot a little bit. For his stomach, you can go backwards about that far. Forwards about that far. Decent range of motion. Can rotate almost, maybe. Yeah, you can rotate it all the way around. For his legs, can go outwards about that far. Inwards about that far. Pretty good forward kick though. Like again, like here, it's all one solid piece. Why couldn't we have that there? I don't get it. I just don't. Like that should have just been all one joint, and then they could just put the ball joint in there. Maybe it would have hindered the motion a little bit there, but whatever. For the knees, a little bit of a bend. Rotation at the knee. You also have your rotation here at the top part of the thigh. Feet can rotate a little bit forward and back. And shift up and down. And for the tail, can shimmies about that far. Side to side. Upwards about that far. And downwards about that far. And for some quick comparisons, here we have the SH MonsterArts MechaGodzilla compared next to some other SH MonsterArts that are mainly sitting down in my basement. With the Super MechaGodzilla with Garuda attachment and Shin Godzilla.
That is a sad comparison, Steve.
I don't mind the scale as much, even though technically he'd be like half MechaGodzilla size. But it works pretty well for me. But he has a smaller figure compared next to these other ones. And here's compared next to some Bandai vinyls of the 1975 Godzilla and the Bandai Creation MechaGodzilla.
But Steve, you need 74 Godzilla up there.
It's kind of the same. Yeah.
1 year older makes a lot of difference.
I think this one's actually considered the 74. He's the wrong Godzilla.
No, I was talking about the Godzilla.
Well, I don't have a 70. Well, I have one, but it's that ugly bank.
It don't matter. People want to see it.
And here's some more Bandai vinyls with the Monster Island, King Caesar, and Anguirus. And here's with the Sophie Spirits Raijin and the Robot Spirits Gypsy Avenger from Pacific Rim Uprising. And here's some NECA action figures with the 24-inch long 2014 Godzilla and the Crimson Typhoon from Pacific Rim. So overall, the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 1974, this figure's
I am personally having a hard time meriting myself paying $100+ for this guy.
Yeah, because you run you 95-ish. Like, you can get him a little cheaper shipping him internationally, but he's a pretty hefty price tag. For an SH MonsterArts that's smaller than most of the other ones. Granted, he does come with some accessories, but his articulation's a huge negative on this guy.
Why is it every time they do something, it's like always the opposite? They make an amazing figure with no accessories, like no beams or anything like that. And then they make a figure like him, he comes with a beam, but he himself just sucks. Why is it so hard to get it right?
Yeah, because like with the previous one we did being the 2017, which I thought was a really standout figure.
Yeah.
Cheaper, it's bigger. Granted, it doesn't come with anything, but the figure itself had literally zero problems. Maybe could add a little more paint. Well, this guy, in terms of detail, I feel like is a little bit more standout than that figure. But with the way they set up the articulation and the lackluster stand he comes with, I can't really recommend him.
No.
To be honest, especially at the price tag. Now, if you're like a hardcore collector of SH MonsterArts, you're going to buy this guy no matter what. No matter what I tell you. But if you're just kind of on the fence and looking for a pretty cool looking MechaGodzilla figure, I would just spend a little bit extra, because you're already spending $100. Just spend the extra 50 and just get the X plus 30 centimeter. It's a great looking figure, looks nice. They have all the kaijus for the movie, well, the 75 movie, that you can pick up to go along with it. Well, this guy, it's even debatable if we're going to get a Godzilla to go along with him.
I don't think they will, man.
It's a maybe.
Not a lot of people will be happy with this guy, that's for sure.
But if you guys are still going to be picking up this figure, I just highly recommend that you just take your time when articulating this guy. Which is not something that's a positive for an articulated figure. But what do you guys think? If you guys picked up the SH MonsterArts MechaGodzilla, what's your favorite SH Monsters figure? Is Mulgira just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. A little closer picture of this guy on our Facebook. You want to click the link in the description below. We also have a Patreon account with exclusive prints for the channel, also down in the description. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a ranger today. See you guys in the next video.
Bye-bye.